Okay, week 5 of the semester. We are 1/3 of the way through. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying the content that we're going through. So we are still in chapter 2. This is the second week that we're focused on chapter 2. And as I said last week, this chapter is just packed with good information. Now, what I'm focusing on this week is the exploration or the continued exploration of the term running economy. Now, running economy, you should know, is operationally defined as the rate of oxygen consumption for a given running speed. All right, now that term, the other term that we're using to also describe the physiology during running is energetic cost of locomotion. That is the amount of oxygen used to cover a particular distance. All right. So these two terms are easy to get confused, and technically they're mathematically related to each other. So if I know the running economy, if I know the speed, I can calculate the energetic cost of locomotion, or vice versa. If I know the energetic cost of locomotion, then I know the speed, I can figure out the rate of oxygen consumption. But yet the two terms actually give us really distinct information, or lets us see submaximal exercise from different perspectives. From the running economy perspective, it tells us how fast we're using calories. From the energetic cost of locomotion perspective, it tells us how many calories we're using to cover a distance. And so these different perspectives seem subtle, but yet they're really important because when we're starting to look at how fast we're transforming chemical energy to mechanical energy, we're interested in the rate of oxygen consumption. When we're looking to calculate how many calories or how much food do I need to take in during an endurance event, I'm more interested in energetic cost of locomotion. Now, in these presentations, I'm really focused on running because that's the basis of this book, is the lore of running. However, these terms also exist and can be applied in swimming and in cycling. All right, so be sure to have read the chapter, and then you should have watched week 4's videos already, and then these videos are completing our understanding of what's happening in chapter 2. The other key thing that I want to make sure to get across is we are really focusing in on submaximal effort here, as opposed to VO2 max. Now, VO2 max is covered in this chapter, and you see how Noakes draws some questions about the value of VO2 max. We're not interested in, for the most part right now, in the maximum rate of oxygen consumption. We're interested in what's happening with rate of oxygen consumption, what's happening with energetic cost of locomotion when we're exercising at a submaximal rate or a race pace. What happens if we're trying to run at 10 minutes per mile or 7 minutes per mile? How does that influence VO2, rate of oxygen consumption, as well as energetic cost of locomotion? All right, so we're really interested in endurance performance, and as such, endurance performance is not performed at VO2 max. VO2 max is a singular number that is often used to describe the fitness of a person, but we're really interested in the ability to sustain a pace over a long period of time or over a long distance. In this week, I also have a presentation on reading a research paper. You should have already found at least 2 papers that are related to your topic, your semester question. You might have found more. And remember, you're not obligated to use any of the citations that you've already entered for either of the semester project assignments. But hopefully that gets you started in looking for empirical evidence that's related to your semester project question. So in this presentation on reading a research paper, I go through how you read this paper. You don't need to read it from beginning to end. In fact, I often jump around in the paper and then really get a sense of what's going on. And so I talk about that in this presentation. These papers are not written necessarily to read from the start to the end. They're written with a technical lens, and there's specific information that the authors are putting in the paper and in specific sections. And so often we are interested in figuring out whether or not this paper applies to the topic we're interested in. And so we can go and look at those sections. At the end of the day, if you include the citation in your presentation, you will have had to have read the entire paper. You cannot just read the abstract and then you include that as a citation. You have to have read the entire paper. And in many cases, papers that I include in as a citation work that I do, I will have read that paper several times to really get a good understanding of what the authors are, what points the authors are trying to get across and the experiment that they conducted. And remember, you're looking for primary source empirical information. So you're looking for research papers that are describing a specific experiment that they conducted, and they're reporting the results in. A secondary source is where there's authors that are discussing other works. They may be describing an experiment, but it's not their experiment. They're describing experiments done by others. That's a secondary source. We're looking for primary sources for your semester project question. Then I have an interview with Jackie Arcana. Some of you may actually know Jackie. She is a longtime Las Vegas resident. She has a long and strong history in the triathlon world. She's currently the fitness director at the Lake Las Vegas Sport Club, and has really been, a foundation person of the endurance community, building the endurance community here in Las Vegas. And so I talked with her background, and also where, her career now. And some of you may be interested in getting in the fitness industry, and I think you'll enjoy listening to that interview with her. So these two presentations, the reading a research paper and the interview with Jackie, remember, these are not exam question content. These are to help you get a better understanding of really the endurance world and also the scientific world. And then we're already looking at exam 2, the end of week 6. All right, that will give us the completion of chapter 2, and exam 2 will be on the content covered in chapter 2. The semester project 5 assignment. Okay, now what you're going to do is identify 4 terms or concepts that are related to your semester project question. Remember, you only have to emphasize 2 in your presentation. So we're going to start off with a big list, bigger list, 4 terms or concepts. And then as you develop your question and ultimately your answer, what I'm hoping is that you'll be able to zero in on 2 concepts, 2 terms that you'll want to emphasize in the presentation. Remember, you only have, you only have 3 minutes for the presentation. So we've got to be really selective about the content that you put in that presentation. More is not necessarily better. You want to have focused, you want to have clear, succinct answers, and you want to present information to support those answers clearly and succinctly in those 3 minutes. All right, and that's it for week 5. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Remember, I am posting open Zoom rooms, so you can stop by and ask any questions. Or if you have questions and the Zoom room doesn't work, shoot me an email. Or if you need to meet one-on-one, use the Calendly link and set up an appointment with me. Okay, thanks everybody.